President Eisenhower discusses drought relief plans with the governors of 6 affected states: Texas, Colorado, Kansas, New Mexico.
From Maine to Texas, one of the worst droughts on record.
Well, Texas is experiencing its worst drought since the 50s.
The worst drought since the 1930s.
In Texas tonight, officials declared drought conditions a natural disaster.
In Dallas, where tonight signs of the drought are everywhere.
This is the first time in, since the 50s it's ever been this low.
The ground, it was just so dry and so hot. It was like 110 degrees that day, and I just remember, how incredibly miserable. It was clear that something weird was about to happen.
The Bastrop County Complex Fire was the most destructive wildfire in Texas history. 3 separate fires started on September 4th, 2011. 2 people were killed by the fire, which also destroyed 1,673 homes and inflicted an estimated $325 million of insured property damage.
Good evening. We've got a big problem tonight in the state of Texas. Problem is wildfires. 33 separate fires burning tonight, all fed by record drought. This fire outbreak has burned 118,000 acres. But look at this stat. So far this fire season, it has rampaged through a record 3.5 million acres of Lone Star State countryside.
It was an animal coming at us. That's up on the highway, looking at it coming from the west, and it jumped the highway there, and then it angled off and headed towards us.
Yeah, the highway wasn't even there. No, nothing could stop that fire.
When you're standing there, I just felt like that's had to be what the gates of hell are like.
It may have been 3 years. And that last time I went out, it looked so different that I'm hoping I can make my way to where the house was. I have to look for the road sign because there's absolutely no landmark at all for me anymore. That weekend of the fire, I was vacillating about whether to go to the coast or not with Michael and his cousin. And I had called down there and asked if I could bring the dog because I didn't want to have to take him all the way into the kennel and all of that. And she said no because of the cats. Judy, who owned the properties, called me and she wanted to let me know. And I said, well, how bad is it? And she said, I think all the houses are gone. And it's just like I couldn't believe it. Of course, I cried the whole way back. Blubbered like a baby the whole way back because of the animals. When we got closer to Austin, you could just see you could still see the fire. And then finally, at one point, I ran into the sheriff and I told him, about my situation. That it had been over a week and I didn't know about my pets or anything. And he said, okay, you can go in. It's the first time I'd seen what had happened, and it was just devastating.
We were down on the county road and we're watching, and we saw the explosions. The fire did not burn itself up to our house. The fire came in from the sky. It was a fireball. When it hit the house, it was estimated at 4,500 degrees. So it was a fireball. The houses exploded. The house that was originally here, and then back behind you was a 2-story garage, three-car garage. When you came in the gate, there was a barn. There was another little house up there, and then it burned up to those. But this area here, the fire just came in and exploded it.
I'm a newcomer. I've been here since 1978.
Tommy's been here for, I don't think, 5 or 6 generations. His family's been in this area for a long time. His dad and all his brothers grew up next door and farmed and ranched, and I don't think they ever had a fire like this.
It's weird. It's like, it's almost like it's still here, exactly the way it was. You just can't see it. I mean, I can see it, but other people can't see it. I gotta try to find the pond.
But all of these walls and ceilings were from the pine trees that burned down. And what else did we salvage? Well, we salvaged, I don't know if you can see these bookshelves, but this is the burned edge of the trees. We just made these shelves out of, they just cut the boards, and then we didn't take off the bark or anything.
And it just didn't do much to those. And this was right here is in the middle of it, and it's kind of a plastic thing, and it didn't melt yet.
In December we built that shelter, so actually it was just that we had a trailer here and we were going to start staying in it, and the cat showed up. So.
Yeah, after 30 days, and we was out here every day. I don't know where it was all that time.
My neighbor had found my dog and buried him and given me his collar, and I came out here and I had like one of those gardening tool things, and I tried to dig him up because I needed to see him. I needed to see what he had looked like, and so I'd know if he had suffered a lot. And I guess he was very deep. I couldn't get to him, but I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird feeling to need to see bones or something.
A lot of people whose houses burned down, they haven't really come back. I mean, we had a couple of people that worked for us downtown in a business, and they just couldn't get over it. It was a life changer. So it was really hard to decide whether to stay here, because the place was pretty torched. I mean, people come out here and they look and they go, what are you going to do? And I'm going, what do you mean? All our friends rallied and, got a bunch of stuff together for us, iron boards and irons and sheets and pillowcases and quilts. And we have some friends who have a restaurant, and they came right out with a big bag of like this very wonderful cooking equipment, right out of their kitchens, and butcher knives and just real precious things that we still, we'll always have them. I really didn't think there was any chance that we'd rebuild here, just because it just seemed so unpleasant. But then, what are you going to do? Sell the place, go move somewhere else,
We're here today at Bastrop State Park for the 3rd annual Texas Aggie Reef Plant. We have over 100 Aggies here today planting loblolly pine trees in Bastrop State Park to recover from the wildfire in 2011 that the park experienced.
It's just kind of fun to come out here once a year and feel like you're making a difference.
Today our goal is 7,500 loblolly pine seedlings, and over this weekend we'll be planting 15,000 in total. The recovery effort is very much a community effort. The whole community experienced the fire. 96% of the park did burn in the fire, but so many more, private landowners were impacted as well. And so while everybody went through that fire experience together, we've also gone through the recovery experience together. And so unfortunately it took a disaster, but it really pulled people together. As I said, it's a very much a community event, and that community was fairly large. It wasn't just Bastrop. It was Austin, it was Houston, it was all of Texas. It was a lot of people from all over the United States that came together to really support that.
But what it came down to was just, you know, we've got a lot of friends in Austin and Bastrop and kind of a whole support system. And that's you find out, you know, you can't leave that. It'd be real hard to recreate that.
You know, it's funny because in my entire life, I've always been a collector, like the one in the family who kept the old cool stuff. And you know, my granddad and my great-grandfather had been photographers, and they had these beautiful German cameras from the 30s, and I had all those cameras, and you know, china and antiques from my great-grandparents, and I don't know, it's funny, I don't have any grief associated with any of the stuff at all. I mean, it's like, it's just my dog and my cats. You know, it's just, I just don't think I'll ever get over it. And I would, as I said to other people, I'd burn everything I have over again in a day just to not, you know, just to have that one piece be different.
There's no way you can plan on any of this stuff.
But
It's
you know,
just
these
done.
people they'd roll in, I have pictures on them, they just roll in all matching t-shirts from like a church in Dallas, and they'd come and spend the whole day, and all of us would be sifting stuff and crawling through the rubble and stuff, and then at the end of the day, they all signed a Bible and hand it to you, and you're just going, you know, I mean, I'm not real religious or anything, but where is that Bible? It was just freakiness stuff, you know, they would all sign their names in it, you know, and we all stood out here and there was nothing here but just burned down trees and houses, and we're just standing there, and I'm going, pretty strong stuff. Lots of people helped.
Yeah. It's actually a story about, you know, the hope that's always there. You know, as negative as something may seem at the time, pull it together, you can come through it. And that's the message of hope for me anyway.